Do you have someone close to you who suffer from depression? Someone you love? Well, it's good you're here. That's what I'm going to talk about today. In this 2-week series, I'm going to start today by explaining what it's like living with someone with depression. I'm also going to go over some of the useful questions you should ask versus to those that are unuseful, not helpful for you and your loved one. Next week, I'm going to go over some useful tips and advice on how to manage life living next to someone with depression. So hi, if it's your first time here, I'm very happy you're here. My name is Adi and I'm a registered psychologist. I have a master's degree in clinical psychology and I help people achieve the life they want by overcoming struggles and difficulties from everyday life. And here on my channel, I help you figure out what's holding you back from the life that you want for yourself. Again, if it's your first time, tell me a little bit about yourself. If you're a returning, say hi in the comments down below. I'm very happy you're here. I upload new videos every week on Tuesdays, so join the family. So without further ado, let's talk about it. So depression is much more than just a bad mood. It casts a big shadow over every aspect of life, from friendships, our social ties, work, playtime. Every aspect of life of the person who suffers from depression is affected by it. And actually, research suggests that 1 out of 5 people in America alone will suffer at one point in their lives from depression, from major depression. So it's very much likely that even you have someone that you love, maybe a spouse, a parent, a child, or an uncle that you like that has depression. The first thing to say is take off any image that you have from crying people and very sad people. And this is something that we always think about when we think about depressed people, but it actually looks very different with every person. Maybe you have a friend that's always irritable and he tells you that he can't sleep at night. Maybe this friend has depression. Other symptoms might be loss of interest, difficulty sleeping, or maybe oversleeping, loss of appetite, or maybe overeating. It can have many faces. It can be loss of energy, feeling guilty, or maybe hopeless, even suicidal. If you live with someone with depression, again, it may be a close friend or a spouse, or maybe a parent, then you might be feeling any kind of the next emotions about it. You might be feeling angry about the disorder. You might be feeling angry about the person who suffers from it, like he's being ungrateful. Maybe you feel like he's too needy, or maybe you feel anxious when you express your frustration from it. You might also feel like your needs are not being met in that relationship. Also, you might be frustrated because of the person not taking part in the chores that needed to be done. I know there must be a really big need to say, just cheer up, snap out of it, what's the problem? But think about it. Would you say it to someone who got injured, who broke his leg? Would you tell him, no, just get up and walk? Well, that's the same thing with mental illness. It is like feeling injured. Remember that mental illness, unless you've experienced it yourself, is very hard to understand. So it's not going to be an easy task for someone who's depressed to get out of bed, to do the chores, to do the things that you want. But don't get discouraged, because it is possible to live with mental illness. You already know there is much more to that person than just a depression. Or you wouldn't be their friend, or you wouldn't spend time with them. But when you try to convince them that it's going to be okay, and you try to argue the situation, it does lead to more frustration and being angry on both sides. So I'm already going to give you one tip from next week's video, and it's, instead of fighting with it, invest your time in learning about the illness. Invest your time in understanding depression so you can understand your loved one better. So you can stop trying to change their depression, to cure them, to make them feel better. And you can invest your time in empathy, in closeness, in understanding. And it's going to bring you closer. It's going to give you connection that you never had. It's going to make the person in front of you feel like you really understand them. In the process, you can learn what helps them and how to meet their needs, but also how to meet your needs. So you're not going to be so frustrated. You can learn together how to live with the illness with you in your house. So let's talk about some of the questions you should avoid, and I'm also going to talk about what you should ask. So the first thing is, in general, try to not be judgmental with your questions. Also try not to trivialize their pain. It is a serious illness. If you're going to be judgmental, they're going to feel blamed, and you have to remember that they're probably already blamed themselves for the situation, so that's really not helping. So questions like, why aren't you happy? Don't I make you happy? Why don't you cheer up? When will you feel better? Why can't you understand? It's all in your head. Or maybe other people have it worse. Why can't you see that you have it better? Last and not least, why are you making such a big deal out of it? So these are questions that are not promoting anything. They're actually bringing the judgment and blame to the relationship, and that's not going to help you live better with it. So let's talk about some options you can use instead. The first one would be telling them, can you help me understand what you're experiencing right now? You can also try asking them, what makes you feel okay? What are the activities that you want to do right now that would be enjoyable for you? Maybe a question like, do you enjoy spending time with people right now? How are your energy levels? Are you sleeping more? Are you sleeping less these days? Are you eating more? Are you eating less? Are you able to concentrate? Last and very important, do you have any kind of suicidal thoughts or thoughts about ending life? All of these questions bring empathy. They bring you guys closer because you're trying to understand. You're showing that you care and that you realize that they don't choose it. It's not just in their heads, and they don't choose to feel this way. So next week, we'll talk about how to live with someone with depression, how to manage daily life when depression is so near. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you gained something from it. And if you did, please consider subscribing. I upload new videos every week on Tuesdays. Like this video, hit the bell button so you can get notified whenever I upload new videos. Until the next time, feel well, stay safe, bye.